Hey entrepreneurs, it's AJ and welcome back to the special series for Global Entrepreneurship Week, where I'm sharing 6 of my very best entrepreneurial principles to help you navigate your career as an entrepreneur. Or perhaps you're thinking about starting a business and becoming an entrepreneur. Well, wherever you're at in your journey, these principles will help guide you to overcome your challenges. So today's principle is, how do you actually tell if a person is going to be successful as an entrepreneur? And there's a lot of research studies around. A lot of people have theories and whatnot about personality traits and, all sorts of stuff, right? But for me, it's 3 simple questions. And how I developed these 3 questions was basically I started thinking about my own experiences in my own entrepreneurial journey. But also when I sit down with someone and I have these chats with them, I would instantly walk away going, yeah, that person's an entrepreneur. Or that person has a great passion and desire, but they're not going to be successful as an entrepreneur. And I started looking, why do I believe that? And when I talk to these people, I'll be listening to how they think. And that tells me if they're going to be a great entrepreneur or not. And I developed a set of 3 questions that when I ask these questions, they just give me really insightful answers about the capabilities of a person. So these are the 3 questions. And by now I'm hoping you realize that I'm a very unconventional entrepreneur and I do things very differently. So these are my questions. The first question is, do you make the bed in the morning? And this tells me your appetite for discipline. Are you disciplined enough to do something so tiny, so micro, so minuscule that will give you no satisfaction whatsoever until later on? Because when you come home after a hard day's work or play or school or career or whatever, and you walk into your bedroom and the bed's nicely made, how does that make you feel? Good, right? Or perhaps if you go into a hotel and you pay a lot of money for a room and you go in there and the bed hasn't been made, how does that make you feel? It's that, right? That feeling of doing something so little that will give you benefit a little bit later on. It won't be an immediate benefit. Delayed gratification. Do you have the discipline to do something that will give you delayed gratification? Because entrepreneurship, it's not a game. It really isn't, right? As much as we love seeing those shows, the Shark Tank on TV and the pitch competitions and all that, entrepreneurship's a way of life. And as you know, life is never smooth. So do you have the discipline to do your entrepreneurial venture? That's what's important. So that's the first question. Do you make your bed every single day? Second question, how low do you let the fuel gauge get in your car or your bike? How low does the fuel gauge get before you feel compelled to run to the service station and fill it up again? How low does the fuel gauge get? And that tells me your appetite for risk and also focus. Because if you are the type of person that waits for things to be half empty before you fill it up, well, perhaps you might not be successful as an entrepreneur, because when your bank account starts getting a little bit low because you can't generate that cash for whatever reason, you're going to freak out and all of a sudden start looking for your job, right? So how low does the fuel gauge get in your car? And the entrepreneurial types, they'll tell me, well, almost on empty, mate. I'm just so busy running around doing stuff, more important stuff, that I don't really sort of look at that until the little light comes on or the gauge tells me how far I've got to go. That's entrepreneurial spirit. So that's the second question. How low does the fuel gauge get? Third question, and this is a very interesting one. What computer internet browser do you use to surf the interwebs? What browser do you use? And there's actually studies done on this that actually correlate what type of browser you use to if an employee is actually going to leave that company, is more likely to leave or stay at a company. So if you use browsers like Internet Explorer or Safari, the default browser that comes with the technology that's just given to you, then chances are you're not going to be sort of entrepreneurial successful, because you lack the mindset that allows you to go out there and seek better tools to achieve the outcomes you need to achieve than what you're already given, already handed to you. because as an entrepreneur, you definitely need to go out there and be resourceful. You're not going to get handed things to you, right? It's not like you have a safe, cushy job to fall back on. No, this is a completely different game where you really need to think creatively on your feet. And I find that most people who they use Chrome or Firefox or several other browsers out there, they have the ability to go out and seek additional tools that'll be more effective at helping them achieve their outcomes. So that's the third question. So the bed, the browser, and the browser. Do you make your bed every morning? How low does the fuel gauge get before you fill it up? And what browser do you use? And these three questions have always led me to being spot on if a person's got the entrepreneurial traits or not. Give you an example. A few years ago, I had a family friend contact me. He's a little bit older than me. He'd heard about me from his son, what I'm doing. And he said, listen, I want you to be my business coach. I'll do anything what you say. And I said, sure, I'd love to be your business coach. But let me ask you a couple of questions. Do you make the bed in the morning? No, I don't bother with that. My God, my wife does that for me. Why would I do that? Okay. How low before the gauge gets in your car before you fill it up? My God, I freak out if it's not half a tank full. Okay. And what browser do you use? I use Internet Explorer. It's so easy. It's on the desktop. I just click it. Chances are, I think you're really going to struggle. So you might want to just work on these little things, like start to make your bed every day and practice feeling uncomfortable when the fuel gauge gets below half. And also try going out there and installing software that isn't Internet Explorer. Use Chrome or Safari and get used to that. Get used to being uncomfortable. Just get used to that. And he said, okay, no worries. And and he went away. He went away and he did his business. And 6 months later, I ran into him and I said, hey, how's business? He goes, didn't work out. I ended up going back to my old job. And that's great. And you know what? I'm happy for him because he just wasted 6 months of his time, energy, and money, not years, not relationships, not destroying connections with people. The sooner that you figure out, entrepreneurship isn't for me, great. And you might hate me for it, but I'm fine with that because I know your place on this planet is elsewhere. And that's cool. I'm completely fine with that. So the bed, the browser, and the browser. I hope this serves you well. Thank you so much for watching this series. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. My name's AJ Kulatunga. Thanks for watching this video, and whatever happens in business and in life, I wish you nothing but success. Take care.